What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
It is 11 o'clock as we begin hour number 2. We're live at Social Taco, a lively first hour of the show. If you just now tuned in, Mike Griffith from the AJC, DogNation.com, joined the program as we got an early preview of 2 weeks from now, being Tampa, Florida, as SEC football media days will be underway. We've been giving you blow-by-blow detail of what's happening in Frisco, Texas, as Brett Yormark's making some headlines, the Big 12, doing exactly what you need to happen if you're starting things off with football media days. They've announced that Monster Energy drink in the Big 12, they have come to a deal in which you will see Monster Energy logo on every football, men's basketball, and women's basketball jersey for the foreseeable future.
And we were talking about Ben Portnoy, and I asked him specifically the question, how do these negotiations with the jersey patch start? And he said in a lot of instances it's used as added value. So maybe they valued this multi-year deal with $20 million just for the patch, but maybe there's some more financials and maybe some other numbers that they're not reporting where Monster Energy is stepping up, or maybe an entity associated with Monster Energy.
Yeah, so we will see the full details, but Ben Portnoy is reporting that it will be $1 million paid to each individual school, and that will not preclude a school from going out and signing their own deal. For example, Osage Tribe out of the state of Oklahoma, they recently, about 2 weeks ago, they signed a deal with Oklahoma State. They will have a patch on every jersey for Oklahoma State. So that will not stop them from having that logo and perhaps having the logo of Monster Energy on the other side.
Does Baylor put Mi Casita on their jersey?
I'm sure if Mi Casita would pay a lot of money for that, they probably would.
That's still a lot of chips.
The other big story, another disappointment for U.S. men's soccer last night. They lose to Belgium 4-1. It looked good when Malik Tillman bent one in on the penalty kick. Looked like it was going to be one of those hard-fought games, but then after halftime it was all Belgium, a lot of mistakes. Matt Freese, whatever he was thinking, the goaltender. You know, he's a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
That just shows you, man. What
Smart
are you doing?
people can do what do you do?
That Ivy
what
League education, man.
At times, yeah.
What a brain fart. My gosh, that was awful.
I know a couple of people that I would consider borderline genius that they have their moments too. So,
well, there's no doubt that two people that know the United States men's national team better than almost anybody is Lexi Lawless and also Carrie Lloyd.
Yeah.
Lloyd is one of the most decorated women's soccer players. Let's start with Lexi Lawless. This is what he had to say last night after the disappointing performance by Team USA.
First off, I think congratulations have to go to this Belgium team to come into this environment and put on a show like that. And from a U.S. perspective, they picked the worst time to play their worst game. And I think Mauricio Pochettino and the players would admit that. You know, to echo what Stu and John said, you know, anytime this happens, and I've been through this now a lot, the question is always, well, was this a success? Look, I think that this team did win hearts and minds. I think that this team did bring people into the tent, and they should be incredibly proud for that. But also there's a part of me that says the time for moral victories is over, and so we've left something on the table here. And that, to me, is disappointing. I also know it's going to be disappointing to the players and to Mauricio Pochettino when they look at this game. Because, again, the goals that they gave up at times were self-inflicted against a better team. But this U.S. team has beaten better teams in the past. It just didn't happen here today. So it's going to be disappointing to go out, but also in the way in which they went out, which was much more of a whimper than a roar that we had seen through this tournament.
Well, something that he said, they absolutely won, I think, I'll speak for you, our hearts and our minds, and we were dialed in. But the frustration for me is I still have the same level of skepticism about U.S. men's soccer for the next time that we do this that I had rolling into this one. It didn't really change my view. Did the team look different? Yes. They play a different style? Yes. Did I get more excited during this one than I can remember any other? Absolutely. But still, the exit and not being able to at least play your best when you need to play your best, win or lose, that was disappointing.
Carly Lloyd, one of the most decorated women's soccer players in our country's history, she kind of took the gloves off here. Take a listen to what she had to say.
I felt like they lost the game before they even stepped out onto the pitch, and I'm not sure why, and I don't know the reasons, but just from the beginning, just chasing, tentative, scared, just not confident on the ball. And I think big-time players, you wanted some of those big-time players to step up in big moments. And I got to be honest, I was a bit disappointed with Christian Pulisic. I think whether he wants to be the star of this team or not, we didn't see enough from him in this particular game, and really the whole World Cup. Little glimpses here and there, but look, aside from this loss, I think on the brighter storyline, it's been a fantastic World Cup. This team has united the country. They have, gotten American fans to fall in love with them, and there is a bright future. But this is just a real disappointing loss to go out on.
Yeah, I think she said it best, and to me it was body language, not only with Belgium, and it seemed like a pretty easy score that they had, and at the 8 and change mark, I think that was their first goal there in the first 10 minutes. But I texted you, and I remarked to my wife Dorothy right when it happened. I said, "This just I don't feel good about it." I didn't really feel good about the game, just the way that it set up from the perspective going in. All of this talk about flow. And then Belgium kind of having an extra mat on. And they came out. They were on fire. And, yeah, Pulisic was very tentative when we did not need him to be that way. But it was not just Pulisic. It was everybody.
Very much so. A missed opportunity, another disappointing outcome for a sport that continues to tell everybody that it's the next big thing, and it just has not happened.
No.
You keep waiting for it. And I don't know if you and I will see it in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Maybe in Conrad and Molly's, but we've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah. And never thought, but 2002, when that happened, that was kind of the, okay, wow. All right, we've gotten to this point. Think about where we're going to be with the United States, with facilities, with technology, with all of this we have at our disposal. Think about where we're going to be in 20 years, and it seems like we're still kind of where we were.
Yeah. Kind of running in a circle.
Yep. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. And this one rolling in from Mark, and he says, anyone who thought USA would beat Belgium in soccer is a fool. Hope you won a lot of money, Mark. Don has chimed in. He is actually talking to Gringo right now.
20 feet away. Why can't he
He said I had to chime in. Auburn and Alabama. No, I think this way works. Auburn and Alabama, in my opinion, will never stop wearing sponsor patches or start on their uniforms. WDE. It said stoop.
That is a wonderful philosophy to have. And I agree with it today. But you just never – I mean, you never know when someone is going to just absolutely blow your skirt off in regards to some kind of deal that you just can't turn down.
Yep.
And it would fit into the motif of the schools. I'm not saying that they would do something that would go against their fiber. I mean, if Jimmy Rain decided or Tim Cook decided, hey, you know what? Apple's ready to put a logo on an Auburn jersey, and we're going to give you $20 million a year. 5-year deal, $100 million.
Yeah.
That's $20 million to put an Apple logo on Auburn jersey. I think that might be tough for John Cohen to turn down.
That'd be tough.
Just like if Mercedes-Benz came to Alabama and said, hey, we'll do the same deal. 5-year deal, $20 million a year. I think Greg Byrne would have to have a long conversation with a lot of Red Elephant clubs to try to get everybody on board for that.
Yep. Darren from Tennessee. So I've been thinking about something. What championship would mean more for the USA? Basketball, soccer, baseball, etc. Love the show. Sorry about your Braves, Landrum. Well, thanks. I mean, I think at this point it would be soccer, just because it's the one that we're still chasing. It's the one that we don't have supremacy on the world stage. I mean, just like everybody else.
We have the best hockey players in the world.
Yes.
World Baseball Classic, we've been disappointment. A little better showing this time than before. Still chasing that. Basketball, we win gold medal after gold medal for the men's and women's basketball program.
Speaking of the Braves, somebody's saying SEC football presented by Quikrete. It just weighs more.
That's good. I like that.
The irony of Monster Energy is that Coca-Cola, an Atlanta headquartered company, is a major stakeholder in Monster.
That is true, and I understand that about half the schools in the Big 12 have Pepsi pouring rights on their campus. So then you just have to wonder, how's the Pepsi distributorships in those places? How are they going to feel about?
Maybe they're okay with it because it's Monster, and a Monster, I don't really connect. I didn't know until today that Monster was connected to Coke. So maybe they'll look at it different. We were asking the question about BYU. How do they feel about a carbonated beverage or an energy drink, caffeine, being on the jersey? Somebody telling us Mormons are allowed to drink soda now. They've lightened up on that stance.
Okay.
It's good to be educated. Did not know that.
Jason asked the question from yesterday, Bob Horner's anniversary of his 4 home runs in one game. Can any of you name the first base coach of the Braves? And that was Willie Stargell. Get over it, guys. It's soccer. Get over what? It just happened last night. I mean, we're going to put it to bed today. That's fine. Matt Freese won money on Belgium. I don't think so. Somebody saying soccer sucks is my point. And it sucked last night. I'll agree with you there. Wasn't a whole lot of fun. And I switched it over to watch my Braves squander one in the ninth. So, just taking a lot of L's here in the last month if you're a U.S. men's soccer team or if you're a Patriot and you like the Braves as well. Unlike Pat, he's still got his Cardinals he can cling to. 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX.
I mean, you did sign Rowdy Tellez today back to a minor league deal.
Great. He's going to start at defensive tackle for us next season.
You got Paul Skeens tonight on the bump against Hurston Waldrop.
First time we've seen Skeens this year.
Maybe you guys will have
St. Louis will fly in and bat for us.
Yeah, have the same. But just to show you how weird baseball is, we have dominated the Cubs. We're 5-1 this year against the Cubs, but we're 1-5 against the Brewers. The Brewers beat us last night. We were playing a 5-game series in St. Louis against the Brewers. Got a doubleheader today.
It's a lot of baseball.
It's a lot of baseball.
A lot of heat.
Yeah. It'd be a nice, cool afternoon. First pitch coming up at 1 o'clock in St. Louis.
Ooh. Bet on the Brewers tomorrow. You guys got an off day tomorrow? Or you just roll into the next series?
No.
Yeah, good.
No, because that's when we
that's
play
right,
y'all
we
this
play
weekend.
You guys.
Yeah.
Good. Be getting tired.
So we got 5 against the Brewers and the Braves come in.
And then we got the break, right?
Yep. I was reading the Major League Baseball trade deadline for the Braves. See if this interests you. This is according to The Athletic. The trade deadline is Monday, August the 3rd at 5 p.m. Central Time. The Braves are searching for a starting pitcher. No big surprise there. But they're looking for a guy that could be their number 2 starter in the playoffs. Their top trade targets have included Tariq Skubal, Joe Ryan, Jose Soriano, Reed Detmers, Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, Sandy Alcantara, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and Robbie Ray. Who of those interests you the most?
Sonny Gray is interesting. I mean, Lugo's okay. I think based on what kind of value you would have to give, that's a guy that can go out and give you 5-6 innings. I think pretty consistent basis. Alcantara, I just don't know. Seems like he's been a Marlin for so long. But no, Sonny Gray and Lugo. Who was a couple other ones that you mentioned?
Reed Detmers, Freddie Peralta.
We saw Peralta last
Michael
night.
Waka, Robbie Ray.
No.
According to The Athletic, Joe Ryan from the Minnesota Twins is the best fit for the Braves. They also says that to get Joe Ryan or any of those pitchers that we just mentioned, obviously Skubal, the price tag would be much more expensive. They say that the Braves are going to have to give up probably 2 of J.R. Ritchie, Cam Caminiti, or Didier Fuentes to pry Ryan away from Minnesota. That's a very healthy.
Yeah, that's healthy. I don't want to get rid of Fuentes. Like what I'm seeing out of him. And Richie, that would be okay. And then who was Caminiti?
Yep. They said you're going to have to lose 2 of those 3 prospects just to get Joe Ryan. And if you're going to go after Skubal, you're probably going to have to give up all 3 of those.
You have to give up a ton to get Skubal. Skubal's not going to be a Brave. Skubal is going to be making a ton of money either with the Dodgers or pick another team that's going to pay what it's going to take, and they're going to trade with what it takes. Dodgers farm system is pretty healthy, right?
Yes, it's amazing.
They got a bunch of dudes that they could deal, and they got plenty of money.
Yes,
so.
they have got plenty of money. You know, DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means Alabama, win or go home. That's it. That's the World Cup knockout round, and DraftKings has you covered every single match. The DraftKings app is now live in Alabama, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or that late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in Alabama, the world's biggest stage, in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with code JOX945. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code JOX945. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC-registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions do apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends July 19th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
Continue to hang out with Social Taco here in Homewood. The doors are open. We're in the square. Constance and some of our other friends are here. You can peruse the menu, but they got the mix and match tacos, the award-winning margaritas on the rocks or frozen. And don't forget about the dollar cervezas. We are live at Social Taco here in the square. Landon, we'll get to your phone call coming up next. 3-man front right here on Jocks. 11:21, we are live, 3-man front here at Social Taco in Homewood. Larry is to my left. Corey has just arrived. We've got Stan, Don, Constance, Gringo, Kelly, Mike, Jerry. I think that's Tom.
Yep, Tom's here.
So you can make your way here to Social Taco, socialtaco.bar, and don't forget half-off happy hour. It is clutch this time of year, 3 to 6 on the patio. You can enjoy some sun and some beautiful people. Or come inside where it's about, 67, 68 degrees. It's nice and cool. You can cool off with some great food and some great times here at Social Taco and Home.
So we've been following the Big 12 football media days that got underway in Frisco, Texas. Big story is Monster Energy Drink. They're going to get a patch on every team's jersey this year, part of a multi-million-dollar deal with the league. That is not going to preclude teams from going out and signing their own deal. Some other headlines from the media days. It appears the Big 12, they will now allow the TV broadcast to include conversations between the replay officials and the on-field official. That's very similar to what you get when you watch an ACC football game. So now you will be able to hear the back and forth between the replay booth and the official down on the ground there in the stadium. So fascinating, weird. You might have the Big Ten or the SEC adopt that as well.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be like this in a lot of things. You get the ACC and the Big 12 that are willing to experiment or implement things that we have not traditionally associated with college football. And the SEC and the Big Ten, they can kind of do it at their leisure when the demand becomes great enough. But based on officiating that we saw last year, specifically in the SEC, I don't know if those conversations need to be aired. Maybe we need to iron some things out. I'm being serious. Last year was – I'm not one of these people that's on officials, but I saw more inconsistencies last year than I can remember.
1-800-239-WJOX. Let's get to the phones. Landon joins us here. Wants to talk a little World Cup here on Three Man Front. Hey, Landon.
Hey, what's up? Just a statement, and I'll hang up and listen. Soccer is for communists and men who wear gloves to pump gas.
Wow. Wow. Have you ever worn a glove to pump? No. Is anybody in this room trying to look around? Now, I knew a guy that would put on a glove, but that was to smoke a cigarette so his wife didn't know he was still smoking.
Now, I will say this. During COVID, I might have, like, one of those paper towels, when you clean your windshields. I might use that.
Yep.
And then I would, for early days of COVID, had no idea what was going on.
No, we were like hosing off our groceries in our driveway. I remember that.
You're wiping down your groceries?
Yeah, and then
again, you had no idea what was going on.
Well, no, and I, I've got 5 things of hand sanitizer in my bag. We carry it with us wherever we go. Instant wipes. So I was mega OCD when COVID started.
About wiping down everything?
I went through all of our Lysol in one day. I'm like spraying myself down, triple checking. I didn't want to bring the big C into the house. Turns out that really didn't.
It really didn't.
I don't think that really prevented anything. No. What it did is made me go through a lot of Lysol. And then I realized that.
And then once you went through it, then you couldn't find it anywhere else to replenish it.
No. Did you ever make your own hand sanitizer?
No, I did not.
Made my own hand sanitizer. Yep.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah, aloe. And I think Larry did too, apparently. And you get rubbing alcohol, and it's got to be a certain percentage. I think it's the 90% that it has to be effective.
It's like when you would get the hand sanitizer that smelled like tequila.
Well,
do you remember that one?
Yeah, and you cannot convince me that Tito's was not making that hand sanitizer.
I know that there was a lot of distilleries that started making that.
Or Tito's or somebody was, yeah. It smelled like a cross between tequila and a watered-down vodka drink. Mm-hmm. More tequila, I guess.
So what was the first part? He said that it's for communists? Communists and people that wear gloves when they pump gas.
Yes. Sissy boys, I think is what he's saying.
Okay.
That was Landon's comments, not this show.
No, that was
somebody did raise the question or just bring up the point. The really good athletes in these other countries, soccer is their first sport, whereas football, basketball, baseball, probably in that order, first sport for kids in this country.
And I understand that there's certain academies that people go and be a part of, especially at a very young age over in Europe, and that's not cheap. But you do think about soccer, it's one of the most inexpensive sports in the world for someone to play. Think about it. What do you have to play? Soccer ball. That's it.
Yep.
You go to any village anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
And you're going to find a kid with a soccer ball. You're not going to go find a graphite $390 baseball bat up in the Andes.
No.
You're not going to find that. Or you're not going to find a $650 football helmet that a youth football league kid in Vestavia has to play with.
And most likely you're not going to find a set of brand new Titleist blades. No, you're right.
That's why it's the most popular sport in the world, because it's the most inexpensive one that you can play. Let's go next. David joins us here on the program, 1-800-239-WJOX. Good morning, David.
Morning. Listen, I just got triggered by the mention of SEC football officiating.
Okay.
Here's my question. Every year we complain about it. Every year there's bizarre things that happen about it. And for as long as I can remember, the conference's response is, we got it, trust us, there's accountability. I know you guys aren't really sports journalists per se, but I wonder why. I don't think we're ever going to get any transparency or light shined on this unless the commissioner is asked the hard questions and kind of held to account. You know, he's everywhere when he wants to talk happy talk about how awesome things are going, but the big glaring deficiency seems to be substandard officiating, and it's such a huge industry and officials play such a huge part in it. I don't think it's going to change until sports media gets really interested, pursues the story. More of a comment than a question, but if I'm a young journalist, I'd be all over that because I think there's a real interesting story there. What do y'all think about anything I've said? And I'll hang up.
No, well, before you leave, I do want to ask you this, and I know that you probably watch predominantly Southeastern Conference football when we get to football season, but when you watch other conference officiating, do you feel that the SEC is below par in regards to other leagues, other Power 4 leagues, or even, say the Sun Belt or Conference USA, or do you think that, that's – I guess I'm trying to ask you, where you think in the pecking order of everyone else? Is the SEC below par?
To be fair, I don't watch much football beyond the SEC.
Okay.
And I'm in a different SEC stadium every Saturday during the season. And there's so many kind of epic fails by the officiating crew or just unexplained things. And the problem is the commissioner's stock position on all this is, trust us, we got it covered. Look, if a weird play was correctly adjudicated, tell us. If it was bad, tell us. The stock answer has always been, well, we got to protect these officials. I promise you with the internet, everybody, every real fan who's into it knows who the officials are, knows where they live, knows where they work, knows what they do. I don't think the problem gets better just by saying nothing to see here, move along. I'd like to know what kind of accountability program they have in play. I think the NFL has a rule that demands maybe the head official, the white hat, to give a press conference after every game. Why can't the coordinator of officials in whatever sport, but particularly football, have a mandatory press availability every week like the head coaches do?
I think it's a great idea.
Coordinators do at certain times.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
I think they're worried about participation is one of the stock answers I've gotten in the past is they can't find enough good officials, and they think that would discourage maybe folks from continuing or entering into the profession.
But it would be a great educational tool.
I agree.
If the refs explain to us how that was the right call, and if it was a bad call, own it and say, you know what, we blew it. We'll do better next time. But all too often it just seems like cone of silence, old boy network, trust us, we got this. And I think conspiracies grow when there's a lack of transparency.
Yes.
People just fume and they sit around the lunch tables and they talk about this, that, and the other. If it's a bad look, we don't want to take the human element out. It's going to happen. Officials are going to make mistakes, but if they do, own it. But if they didn't, tell us why what we thought we saw was wrong.
And who is your audience in the SEC? It's the most educated, smart football fans you have in college football that view the product.
Yeah,
it's not lost on any of us. You're not pulling the wool over our eyes. To your point, we all saw it. Now we just want an explanation as to why. If you blew it, just say I blew it.
But here's really the point. I can't call the commissioner's office and say this and him say, you know what, dude, you're right. I don't know why, the sports media folks, the Feinbaums of the world, the ESPNs of the world, this just seems like a deep dive into officiating would be fascinating. What's the selection process? What's the training process? What's the retention process? What's the discipline process? I mean, if I were 30 years younger, I'd be proud to sign up for something like that, and I wouldn't care if my work was scrutinized. My work today and my job is scrutinized every day.
Yep.
And if I screw up, I own it. If I didn't screw up, then I defend it. So, but until the powers that be are asked the hard questions, they're just going to be allowed to continue saying, we got this, we're good, we got it, trust us. And more dissatisfaction grows. I just think this is a big miss by the sports media, particularly the journalists, the people that can do the deep dives and the investigations. And that's really all I would say is I think about once every season the opportunity to vent like this happens. So I appreciate y'all being the victims this year.
No, David.
David.
First off, appreciate you listening. Great questions,
Yes,
and we will absolutely kick the tires on that. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. 1-800-239-WJOX. That is the number. Text line is open. Top of the hour, we will talk to John Talty, national college football writer for CBS Sports, will join the program. Talking a lot of football as we're getting tuned up for SEC Football Media Days less than 2 weeks. This is Jock's three-man front.
11:37, three-man front. We're live from Social Taco here in Homewood. Cigar Cowboy. Steve from Tuscaloosa. Matthew has arrived. You can join us as we broadcast till 2 here in the square. I want to remind you, our friends at Noto Roofing. That's who you need to turn to when it comes to your roofing needs. Locally owned and operated. These guys both I grew up with here in Metro Birmingham, but they got a wonderful team, a staff that you can trust like Chris. His expertise is through the roof, literally. Almost 3 decades he's been dealing with the roofing industry, and Chris is going to identify any problem areas there on your roof, and he'll be able to figure out what caused it. And in our case, we had to get with the insurance company. We got the roof replaced. Bottom line, Noto did everything they said they were going to do and more. Company you can trust. Free inspections to all of our great Jocks listeners. Noto Roofing, NOTOroofing.com. That's NOTOroofing.com or 205-848-2299. When Sammy answers the phone, tell him Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
So the first of college football media days is underway in Frisco, Texas. Big 12, they're first on deck today and tomorrow. They're in Frisco. Brett Yormark spoke to the media this morning. He was asked about the Brendan Sorsby situation. He says he appreciates the question, but today is not the time to address that issue, end of quotes. Yormark also said that the commissioners, i.e. Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, Jim Phillips, Ph.D., they have begun formal discussions around college football playoff expansion and that more access is needed as too many great teams are still left out. That's no big surprise. I think even the SEC would say we'd be okay with 16. We just don't want 24. That's been the whole debate between the Big Ten and the SEC. Yormark also says sponsorship revenue in the Big 12 is up 182%. And the reason why is because he announced today that Monster Energy Drink is to brand the Big 12 football and basketball with jersey patches, field logos, and signage. So that's kind of the headlines coming out of Big 12 Media Days.
I was just going back through one of our many top 25s we get in the preseason and just looking to see how many folks from the Big 12 we got represented. And as I'm rolling through here, I'm trying to see the first team that comes up in at least ESPN's rankings. That would be Texas Tech. Coming in at number 11, followed by BYU. So Texas Tech, BYU, that's going to be the pride of that conference. And then who knows, is there another one of those schools? I would have to think that Iowa State, you take a step back this year. Kansas State, you got a new coach. Kansas, it feels like maybe we've seen Kansas ascending and then kind of planing off, but I don't know who that other school would be. If it's, potentially Utah, but we say Utah every year. So I've stopped saying Utah.
So I'm sitting here looking at Lindy's preseason magazine, and they have Texas Tech 14. They have BYU 15. And you've got Utah. Well, actually, you've got Houston at 17, then Utah at 22.
Yeah.
So that's your top 25. I'm looking at Athlon's. Athlon's has Texas Tech as 12. BYU is 16. Houston is 19. Utah is 20. So it's the same 4 schools that we just mentioned. Phil Steele, in his preseason magazine, he's got Texas Tech at 13. He's got BYU at 17. Utah is at 26, so he's only got 2 Big 12 teams in his top 25.
Not a big surprise. They haven't won a college football playoff game since it's been around. So it seems like every year there's one or two little stories from the Big 12 that everybody kind of latches onto, and it seems like the rest of the conference is just kind of ho-hum. I mean, think about it. Everybody was excited about Colorado. That was kind of that sexy pick. I'm trying
At least
to think.
since in year 2 it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in year 2 it was. We've had Iowa State in that conversation before. But and you just pick whatever other year it was. That particular school was supposed to be there, and they haven't been. I don't see in my opinion, a legitimate title contender that you have there at that conference, at least on paper. As we continue live here from Social Taco in Homewood, 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX.
It is 11:46. Welcome back in. 3-man front, top of the hour. John Talty from CBS Sports. He will join the program, get his feelings about the upcoming college football season. Where's the Protect College Sports Act? Where is that currently? I know there's a lot of lobbying going on. The SEC, right before the 4th of July holiday, they had sent out an update to a lot of their membership in regards to the conversations they've been having with the Senate. So we'll get his feelings about that, as well as an update on his award-winning publication, his book about Nick Saban.
Do you think that it was going to happen, or do you think that Auburn and Alabama coming out with the joint statement yesterday, through those conversations and getting an update of where maybe the votes lie, where everybody's position is, they felt that it was imperative to put out something? I'm playing mind games here.
I think what you're doing is you're stacking cordwood, and I think Alabama and Auburn is so passionate, and I've mentioned this before. There's no way that the 2 senators from the state of Alabama is going to vote for this crap. They're not going to vote for it.
No.
And so, I just think that everyone loves to get out and be proactive, and I think that Alabama.
For the record, let it be known that
the
University of Alabama, Auburn University, we do not support.
I mean, by the way, not only was it the presidents, but it was also the board of trustees from both schools.
Correct.
So once again, this was
we wholeheartedly do not support.
Yeah, this is everybody is lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah,
going to the beat of the same drum.
I wonder how many other SEC schools will feel the need to put out a statement.
Well, it's interesting. So Conrad, if we can cue up the Face the Nation clip. So I did not see this over the weekend because obviously it was 4th of July weekend. But Charlie Baker, who is the president of the NCAA, he was a guest on CBS's Face the Nation. Take a listen to the question to Charlie Baker and his response.
There are leaders at the Southeastern Conference, for example. I'm thinking of the head coach and the president of the University of Georgia, who've talked openly about the SEC breaking away from the NCAA if this legislation that's being considered isn't considered favorable to the conference. And once the TV contracts come up, why don't they just go their own separate way? What would you say to those in the SEC or other conferences that say, yeah, let's just go out on our own?
Well, they'll have a hard time running national championships if they do that because everybody won't have the same rules. I actually like and respect a lot of the people at Georgia in particular, and at Ole Miss and at LSU and at a whole bunch of those schools who I deal with on a pretty regular basis. I think the possibility of trying to figure out some way to determine what really has to be a national standard to have national championships, and what you probably could do at a conference level, because it doesn't, necessarily affect our ability to run national championships on a level playing field.
It's interesting that he kind of smarted off at the very beginning of that answer, and he said, well, they're going to have a really hard time running a national championship. The NCAA has absolutely nothing to do with the college football playoff.
No, that's what he didn't remind the person that was asking the question.
Zero. They have nothing. Now, College basketball, completely different animal. College World Series, both men and women, completely different animal.
Much less popular sport, but I get to witness it. Beach volleyball, national championships.
Yeah, they run every other.
Phenomenal job.
They run every other championship. But what is the only championship now? College football brings in an incredible amount of money. It does not bring in as much as the NCAA basketball tournament. But to have that statement right out of the gate, like they would have a really hard time. Like if the Big Ten and the SEC announced today,
if that's your leverage, then you need to go back to the leverage store.
Because if you're CBS and you're paying billions of dollars for the NCAA basketball tournament, then all of a sudden you've got 34 teams deciding that they're not going to participate, and those 34 teams come from the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten Conference, you got a problem. You got a big problem. Because if you're an advertiser, you're like going, what am I paying for? Like, yeah, it's still a good event, but it's not a great event. The SEC and the Big Ten's not a part of it. So,
and where are the majority of your eyeballs coming from when your TV ratings are coming out for college athletics? There's a lot of markets in Big Ten country and the SEC.
Yeah. So it was just interesting him going down that flippant comment of, well, they'll have a tough time running a national championship. Well, the Big Ten and the SEC, they're completely fine with running off. And
my question is,
college football championship?
Pat, why is he in conversation so much with Ole Miss and LSU? That was my takeaway. Like, how often, Charlie Baker, are you talking to the folks at LSU and Ole Miss?
So, Conrad, I will bring you on this because you've actually listened to this. Is this worthy of us playing this comment from Yormark and a reporter?
It's interesting. So essentially, what you had
want to set it up for us?
Yeah. So let me. Hang on. Let me make sure that I can.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot here. I saw something. I did not have a chance to listen to it, so I sent it to Conrad. And this was part of the Q&A session between Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, and a reporter. I do not recognize the reporter.
What was the reporter wearing?
A lavender
I want you to
sports
paint a
coat. It is a purple lavenderish sports coat. All right, yeah, so we'll play the clip here in a second. So basically this reporter, he asked Brett Yormark a question. I don't know if Brett Yormark is either shocked by the question or couldn't hear him clearly, and so he then asked the reporter to get closer to Yormark so he can hear it more clearly, and they have a little back and forth. But this is a reporter essentially accusing Brett Yormark of unfair treatment towards Texas Tech, while other programs in the Big 12 are allowed to maybe have traditions that Texas Tech is not. Take a listen.
Sean Dillon, Rocket Brigade. Commissioner, Texas Tech got fined over tortillas, and tortillas were banned outright. OSU paddles broke an always maker rule, has a tradition exemption. Sorsby never played a snap. Big 12 sued them anyway, while Cincinnati hasn't been yet touched. You're selling greater than 12. Why should Texas fans believe it?
Can you sit? Let me come closer to you. Stand up. Ask that question again, and I'm going to give you the answer I want to give you. So go ahead.
Texas Tech got fined for tortillas, and tortillas were banned outright. OSU has had paddles that were given a noisemaker exemption back in 2012. Sorsby never played a snap for the Red Raiders, and yet there is a lawsuit. Cincinnati has yet to be touched. You're selling greater than 12. Why should Texas Tech fans believe them?
No, I didn't say greater than 12. You misquoted me. I said we're going forward as 16 strong, and that's my answer to your question. But thank you for that question. Appreciate it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, he raised some interesting questions.
You think Yormark's regretting asking him to come closer? Wait a minute. Whoa. That is
Sit
not,
back down. Sit back down.
I thought I was getting a tortilla question.
I
thought I was getting a upside down hook 'em question.
I understand the Mississippi State and the Cowbells. Did you know about the paddles in Oklahoma State? I didn't know about that.
No.
So they've been given just like Mississippi State?
Well, have you seen how bad they've been? Not Mississippi State. I'm talking about Oklahoma State in the last couple of years. You get 15,000 people rolling in there. They got to make noise somehow.
Well, they've always done that when they've hit on the padding.
Yeah.
There at Boone Pickens Stadium. But I was unaware that they were given the Mississippi State treatment that we'll look the other way. Just, do whatever you want to do. Make some noise. Wow. Very interesting.
They're off and running.
That's awesome. That's almost like Brandon Marcello and Greg Sankey at Destin, Florida a year ago.
And kudos to that guy with the lavender blazer.
For standing up and asking the question. Good for him. Coming up next, John Talty, author, college football writer, CBS Sports, joins us next on Three Man Front.